There, we hit record. So, Steve, I'm going to let you take it away, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much, Lori. And I want to echo your comments and thank all of you for being on today, because I always think about that when I speak to a group, whether it's on Zoom or in person, that it's always easier not to come. And you made an effort to come on today. So I really appreciate you doing that. And Lori, thank you for inviting me. I want to do a couple of things today. First of all, actually two. Number one is I want to give you some perspective on how we're different at Juice Plus than other direct selling companies, and I'll let you know how I know that in a moment. And it's an interesting perspective I've been sharing with a lot of people who perhaps don't know those differences and aren't able to speak to them yet. So I'm going to give you some of that information today. And then, as Lori mentioned, I'm going to speak to you about how I became involved with Juice Plus as a customer. So I've been the regional director for almost 3 years. As Lori mentioned, I have the entire West region plus Texas. And it's almost like having two regions, actually, because Texas is so large. And so I just got back last night from Monterey, California, where I was for 3 days. I know it's hard work to be in Monterey, but somebody has to do it. And so I got back, and so I've been the regional director for almost 3 years, but I've been on the product itself for almost 15 years now, and my whole family as well. And so that's a surprise for a lot of people. They think, oh, well, he came over as a regional director and immediately got on the product and learned about it. Well, I've known about it for quite a long time. And we're going to talk about that journey that I went on. And it's a unique perspective from somebody inside the company to be able to have that perspective and that experience that I had. So first of all, let's talk about the company itself a little bit and what makes us different than other direct selling companies. So some of you may not know, but in my career, I've done a lot of different things. I've been in the publishing industry. I was a talk show host for 9 years. I've been in direct selling. We'll talk about that in a moment. I worked for Pandora Jewelry. People know Pandora Jewelry, the Pandora stores in the mall with bracelets. And I was a regional director for them all across the Midwest with responsibility for 550 stores and 11 territory managers. And I did that for 3.5 years before coming to Juice Plus, actually coming back to direct selling. For 7.5 years before that, I was with Avon as a regional director there for the entire West Coast. As you know, a very, very large company. And went into that position as a regional director with no direct selling experience whatsoever, none, and learned a lot, because you can imagine learning a lot in a company that size from the beginning. You learn a lot, you make some mistakes, but you really you realize how powerful it can be. Okay, and I have friends all over the industry now. After 7.5 years there, I have friends at Advocare, a vice president there. I have friends at Rodan & Fields. I have friends at Pampered Chef. I have friends at Mary Kay. So all over the industry. And it gives me a great perspective to figure out like what makes us different than other companies. Because either you run up against somebody who's been somewhere else and it didn't work out for them for whatever reason, or they just never been in the industry before and want to know more about us, right? Everybody good with that? So, and yeah, just keep nodding because I need affirmation. So first of all, we know like all the tangible things, right, that make us different. So we don't have to spend a lot of time on that. We know that it costs $50 to start your own virtual franchise. And that was pretty remarkable to me when I came here and I found out it was only $50 to join because I wasn't used to that. And so of course my next question was, as a regional director, was, well, what's the catch? What do they have to do for that? What else, right? And there was no else. The only inventory our representatives take is the product they take themselves. And that is very different. There's no other things anybody has to buy, no other kit that somebody has to buy. There's no inventory. We purchase it ahead of time. Think about that. If you have 30 customers and you had to purchase the inventory ahead of time to sell to your customers that you thought you could sell to your customers, that'd be really hard, right? Instead of having a conversation and building a relationship and then getting an order. And 'cause what happens a lot of times with companies where People have to buy inventory ahead of time. Either they can't sell it, they try to sell it into their downline, which doesn't feel real good, or they sell it at a discount, which again, not great, right? We know the no inventory thing. We know that there are no sales quotas here. There are no sales quotas. So, who am I to tell you this is your franchise, right? You make the most out of the franchise that you want to make of it. Now, the great thing is you get great support from your upline, your sponsor, your upline NMD, hopefully from your regional director, all these things to help you build your business, and incredible resources as well, right? We all use them. We use the mission-driven model. We use the Freedom Revolution. We use the Healthy Living Revolution, and we use sideline support too, right? And hold on to that sideline support because that's an interesting point. So no sales quotas, and you never lose your title, right? And that's a biggie. So interestingly enough, Lori mentioned Houston, and I was actually in Victoria, Texas, a little bit after that, Lori. I was in Victoria, Texas with one of our, she's now a QNMD, about to be an NMD. And she asked me to come to Victoria and speak with her team. And I was like, gosh, how many people are going to show up to Victoria, Texas, right? But she was growing really fast. And I thought I need to do that for her. So I went down there, and it was incredible. It was all these young moms, because she's a young mom too. And it was so much fun. It was all these young moms with babies, and the husbands in the back watching the babies as we did our presentation and our talk. And but before I went on stage that night, a woman walked up to me, and she said, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" Now, usually that's not a good thing. Usually it's, "Can I talk to you for a second?" It's something I hear at home, which is never good. And if a representative comes up and goes, "I just need to talk to you about something," it's usually something that's happened in her business or whatever. Well, this was really positive, because this woman came up to me and she said, "Hey, I have to tell you something, that I just moved here from Chicago because I wanted to be closer to my kids. And I've been in this business 15 to 16 years. And I've had to pull back from the business a couple of times for different reasons. And I pulled back, and my checks kept coming every month. And I never lost my title." And she said, "I feel really blessed that I have a company that cares so much, that understands that this business is set up that way." And I said to her, I said, "That's a great distinction to make. Now, obviously, you did a great job with customer care along the way, right? Because your customers kept ordering, because your checks kept coming. And also, you did a great job with your team too. And so they knew to duplicate what you have been doing all along." She goes, "Yeah, my checks hardly moved at all. Didn't grow, right? Because very much, but I was just happy my checks were coming every month." And she goes, "I don't think there are a lot of businesses that you can do that." Funny part of that story is, I said to her, if you don't mind me asking, because I just have that kind of curiosity, I said, "Why'd you have to step back a number of times in 15, 16 years? And she said, "Well, I had 9 kids in those 15 years. Right. That's what I think I said, "Oh my God," like really loud, but I was astonished. I said, "Well, you have been really busy, and I understand." So, but the point was, she didn't lose her check. She didn't lose her title. She came back. I think she was an SSC. And so it shows you a lot about the heart of the company, right? So all of those things that I just talked about, those are tangible things. Like, we know those things, right? Those are tangible. We can touch them. We can read them. We can speak about. But the one thing I learned when I came here as a regional director that is different than any place I've been, or any place that I know my former colleagues have experienced, because I talked to them about it, is the community. And sometimes that's an intangible, right? Like, what's the feeling of being a representative with Juice Plus? Like, do you feel supported? Do you feel supported not only corporately, but do you feel supported, probably more importantly, by your fellow representatives? And that's a real interesting distinction, because at other companies, sideline support's not even a thing. Like, I know at Avon, for instance, when I was a regional director, like, when you met with your team, it was only your team that was there. So it's very rare that I would get, it was never, like, you get on a call or you do a presentation and there'll be a mixture of teams. It would just be one team there all the time. Okay, so there wasn't sideline support. There weren't people you could call, because there was a lot of jealousy that was going on too, and people were just out for themselves. And here, it's completely the opposite. Like, it is remarkable in a sales environment to have that. And I remember my first event I ever came to as a regional director was Lauren Slocum's event in Las Vegas. And I went to Lauren's event. It's like my second week as a regional director. Like, I didn't know anything. And luckily, I knew the product. I didn't know anything else. And I walked into the event, and it was off the charts. Like, there was music, and people having a great time, and everybody's talking, and she couldn't get the room calmed down. And I thought to myself, wow, she has a really big team. I don't know, right? All these people are on her team. Well, obviously they're not. They're people from all over, right? All over the country that have come because it's Lauren's event, and from all different teams. And it struck me how different that is than in most other places. It also strikes me that when you're at somebody's home and speaking like we are today, and you're doing a presentation, or you're just talking, having a conversation, and guests come, they automatically feel right at home. Like, you never see anybody sitting by themselves. People come in and greet them and make them part of the group almost immediately. And so, like, those are things that aren't tangible until that person is put into that situation. So the community that we are is something I want to make sure that you speak about a lot, because it isn't something that people are used to, but welcome once they're there. Okay, so I wanted to give you that background because I think it's important that you know those differences, but you also don't take for granted the community that you're a part of. Because I know all of you feel that, and you feel that from like conference, right, with 7,000 people, and you feel it at summer tours, and you feel it at events where Dr. Phillips or Dr. Du Bois or Dr. Sears might be speaking, and then in home events, you even feel it too. So I don't want you to ever forget that. Everybody good with that? Mm-hmm. Good? Okay. Awesome. All right. So let's talk about my journey because, like I said, it's a perspective a lot of people don't have within the Juice Plus company internally. So as I mentioned, I've been the regional director for almost 3 years. It feels a lot longer, but in a good way. And I promise, it's just the best job. And there's only 4 of us. I'm really lucky to have it. Okay, and so, but I've been on the product for 15. And so you're probably asking, like, well, how did that happen? Like, how'd you know about the product? And so 15 years ago, I was in the gym, and I work out, a little perspective here on me, it's a little wacky. I work out every single day at the same time. Okay, so I work out at 6:30 every morning, right? And I'm a creature of habit when it comes to that. And so we used to live in Colorado. I live in Dallas now. We used to live in Colorado. And I used to go to East Ridge Rec Center every single morning at 6:30 in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. And so there was a woman there who we worked out at the same time every day. I often say we worked out together, but that's not really true. We just happened to be there at the same time and next to each other quite often. Her name is Kelly Arter. And Kelly is an NMD, still with us today as an NMD, very engaged in her business in Colorado. Well, Kelly was an NMD then too. And I didn't know anything that she did. I had no idea what it was about. And so one day Kelly decided to approach me about Juice Plus. But it's the way she approached me that made the difference. So remember, at this point in my life, I know nothing about direct selling. I have never heard of Juice Plus. So I'm just a guy in a gym, okay, going on about my life. So Kelly walks up to me and says, "Hey, Steve, a minute." And I said, "Yo, sure, what's up?" And I can remember it like it was yesterday. And she said, "Hey, you're here all the time, and you seem really fit, and you must eat really well. And I think you probably could help my husband and I with our eating habits. So tell me a little bit about your diet." Now, let's just stop for a second. So she knows who she is, right? But I don't know who she is, right? I don't know anything about Juice Plus. I just know that I know Kelly. Well, the first thing she has done is complimented me, right? Like, "Oh, you seem fit," like those sort of things. And when you compliment somebody, you can find something, right? Their purse, their hair, how they look, how they speak, whatever, right? We can always find something to compliment people on. Well, the minute she complimented me, I was in. Right? I'm going to listen. And so she said to me, she said, "Well, I'd like to know more about your diet. It could really help my family, I think." Now, I was a little like, "Really?" And so I said, "You really want to hear what I eat?" She goes, "Yeah, because obviously it's working for you." And so I said, "Sure." So then I said, "Well, let me just lay it out for you." So I told her what I eat on a weekly basis. Now, And it's the same today, by the way. So I eat a wide variety of foods. Okay, there might be some of you, and you know those people too at our company that are very strict on like it's only vegan or it's only vegetarian or you can't eat bread or all that stuff. Well, I'm the opposite of all that, by the way. So fish and chicken. I do eat meat. I eat pasta because I like pasta. Sorry, and right. And so I eat a wide range of food. Okay, and when I was growing up, my parents always said like everything in moderation. Like that was the thing. Like if everything's in moderation, you'll be just fine. So that's how I eat. Okay. And I cheat once in a while too, because I love chocolate. All right. So we walked through all that together. And she said, wow, it does sound like you eat a lot of different foods. That's great. What's the secret to that? I said, well, we know what we like to eat, and we make sure that we're not eating, a lot of meat back-to-back nights, like all those sorts of things, right? Diversity and that sort of thing. She said, that's great. She said, and I heard, you eat a lot of fruit too, and that's really great. But can I ask you, the one thing I didn't hear is you don't seem to eat a lot of vegetables. Okay? And so I said, well, you picked up on that. And I said, and now remember, I don't know anything about Juice Plus at this moment. But she's asking questions, right? And she's really smart about it. I look back and she was really smart about it. And I said, no, you picked up on that really well. I said, I really don't like a lot of vegetables. I said, I eat a salad every night, but in that salad every night is the same thing. It's lettuce, tomato, cucumbers, carrots, and onions, like every single, and that, by the way, still today. And in a salad spinner we got from Pampered Chef 12 years ago. So think about that, by the way, for a second. The Pampered Chef salad spinner is indestructible. Like it is never broken. And in 12 years, do I need another one from them? No, we don't. Our product keeps coming, which is a major distinction, right? So anyway, so I said, those are the things I like in my salad. And then, of course, I like things like, I like peas, I like string beans, I like corn, but that's really a starch. And I like spinach, which is interesting because somebody doesn't like vegetables, I like spinach. I said, but that's pretty much it. Like that's the vegetables that I eat. And I'm really not going to change. Okay? And I said that to her, I'm really not going to change. And she said, wow. She said, well, we, in our family, with our kids and everything, we've always had the challenge of how do I get enough vegetables into our kids and really into ourselves because we eat dinner together every night and it's really a struggle. I said, believe me, I understand that. Actually, my kids eat a little more vegetables than I do, and my wife definitely does, but I really don't. And she said, well, what if I told you that there's a way to get more vegetables in your diet? I said, well, how would you do that? Because I'm not eating more vegetables. Okay. And I thought she was selling me vegetables or something along those lines, right? And I said, Kelly, I'm not going to eat more vegetables. I'm just telling you right now. She said, no. She goes, we had the same problem, and we discovered a company named Juice Plus. I said, what's that? She goes, and I represent them, representative. And I said, oh, so what is it? She goes, well, and she went on to describe, it's fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And we're able to get 30 fruits and vegetables in our body every day in a really simple way. I said, well, how do you do that? She goes, they're in a capsule, and you just take 2 of each every day, and you're getting the supply that your body needs and the nutrition that you need. So I asked a bunch of questions like, how does that work? And how does it get into a capsule? The normal stuff, right? Because it sounds crazy, right? It does. And I said, well, what is it going to do for me? Typical, right? What is it going to do for me? And she said, look, I'm not going to lie to you. It's not a miracle. It's not magic. You may find you have more energy. You may find that. You may find that you have more cravings. But what it's going to do is just give you better nutrition, and your body will respond to it. And that's what we found. We found that we had more energy during the day, and it also gave us peace of mind. And it gave us peace of mind that our kids were also, when they're going to school, we don't have a lot of control over what they're eating. When they go to friends' houses, we don't have control over that. But at least they're getting their fruits and vegetables in a way. I said, oh. So we talked a little bit longer. Now, this whole conversation is taking place like a 10-minute conversation. And I said, what do I need to do to try this? And she said, well, it's a 4-month supply. And she went through that too. And I said, okay, and what if I don't like it? She goes, well, you just tell me you cancel it, and that's it. And she said, just remember, and just was really smart of her. She said, it's not miracle. Like you're not going to see things change or anything like that. It's not about that. We're about inspiring healthy living. I said, great. So began to take Juice Plus myself. My wife began to take it as well. And I did notice I had more energy. Now, I didn't get cravings for more vegetables. I can tell you right now, I'm being completely honest with you right here. I said, but it was interesting that I did think about what I was eating more, because now I was making an investment in my body. Other than working out and lifting and everything, I was making an investment in my body too by taking Juice Plus. And so at night, this is 15 years ago, when I used to have cookies at night and or ice cream at night because I could, now I was eating an apple every night because it took more time to eat. It was filling me up. And about once a week, you know, I cheat. That's what I do now, and have something that I really want. Right. So the point is that it made me really think about what I was doing. It made me think about living healthier. But the most important thing was it gave me peace of mind that I was getting those fruits and vegetables into my body that my body really needs to remain healthy. I traveled a lot back then, and I travel a lot now, as you guys know. And I am, quote unquote, never sick, like never sick. And I've never had a health issue, knock on wood again, and I still don't. And some of that may be Juice Plus. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. All I know is better nutrition helps everybody with everything, right? You can't go wrong getting better nutrition in your body. And I think that sometimes what we tend to do, especially our representatives, is we tell our product story, okay, whatever that might be. So if your product story is about it's helped your skin clear up, right, or it helped gum disease, we have studies on that. I get it. Or you've been to the doctor and your blood work has gotten better and better over time. You should be telling your story. You should definitely do that. Remember, only tell your story, right? Nobody else's, because that is your story. But always remember this. The person you're speaking to, 90% of the time, is like me, where they just need more fruits and vegetables in their diet, right? It's more, if they just need simple nutrition, right, and a peace of mind that they're getting it. Because if we think, because what happens is when we tell a story about, again, I'll use the example about I took this Juice Plus and my skin got better, or my blood work improved, and you're talking to somebody who doesn't have any of those kind of things going on in their life, right? Then in their head, they're thinking, well, I don't really need it. My skin's fine, or I don't have gum disease, or I don't need to take blood work. My blood work's just fine, right? My blood pressure's great, whatever, right? Like all of that is good. So why would I need to take it? We have to remember that what Kelly did was uncovered a need that wasn't obvious, right? And talked about her family. Also, she told her story. But she also asked a lot of questions to uncover a need I might have, which was I don't get enough vegetables in my diet. And getting 30 fruits and vegetables in your diet is really hard. It's impossible, right? On a daily basis, it's impossible. Because if all you did was sat down and did that in your kitchen all day, you still may not be able to get that, right? So it's making sure that we ask questions to uncover a need that our customer might have. Everybody with me on that? All makes sense? Yeah? Okay, good. Because that's a real important point. And it's, as Lori said earlier, you know, I have an advantage of having that story. Like it happened to me, or with me, I guess it happened to me, but it happened with me and Kelly. And I think the way she went about it was absolutely perfect. Like she took her time and had built a relationship over time as well. It wasn't a very close relationship. Like we just saw each other at the gym. And when you do that, and when you go to the gym at the same time every day, you nod or you smile or whatever. It's like, or small talk once in a while, but nothing like a relationship. Now, what's interesting is after I began to take Juice Plus and really liked it, we did begin to have family relationships with Kelly and her husband, and which was really fun. And now, ironically, I work for the company. That story is important in the lessons we've learned from it, not just because it's my story. Okay. And I have to tell you that another thing I thought about was like the person that I knew that represented Juice Plus, she was my Juice Plus, right? That's all I knew about the company was Kelly. So she was a reflection on the company. And I thought, wow, these are really nice people. Like they really care. Like, right? They really care. Now, what's also interesting about that is I almost right after that, I went to work for Avon. So there was no business opportunity that I could take advantage of because you can't do that when you're working for another company. But so she would have had an opportunity to talk to me about the business as well. Okay. Back in those days, as you know, it was like get a raving fan first and then make them into a business partner, right? Make them into a teammate. Now we're like right away, let's do this. You know, let's make sure that they understand there's a business opportunity here as well. We have an obligation to make sure of that, because what we don't want is a customer to come back to us down the line and say, hey, how come you didn't tell me about this business opportunity? You know, they go to an event and go, I didn't know about this. You could have told me this a year ago and you didn't tell me, right? And that's not fair to them. That's not fair to them. The interesting thing about that, and then I'll be quiet, is because I'm on a roll right now, so you're getting Steve Unplugged. So the other part of that that's really interesting is, so remember, I didn't know anything about direct selling at that point. When I got approached by Kelly, this whole world was, I didn't know anything. Like when you're outside the bubble and you've never done it, you just don't know. Okay, you don't know what's going on. So all I thought, here's what happened. I said to Kelly, I said, so how do you do with this thing? Right? That's like a typical thing. How do you do with this Juice Plus thing? And she said, this is really funny. She said, oh, I'm a national marketing director. And of course, did that mean anything to me at all? That meant nothing. And so I said that to her. I said, that means nothing to me. Like, what does that mean? And she said, oh, I'm at the top of the compensation plan. I said, oh, well, that's really great. Congratulations. Now, what that meant to me is that she was really great at selling Juice Plus. Okay? Because I didn't know anything about team. I just knew that she represented the company and sold me product. I thought I was the last person in the gym that she had sold to. I thought everybody else was taking it, and she had made a lot of money off of all of us, and was a really good salesperson. Okay? So think about that for a second. That's what I'm pretty smart. And I thought, wow, she has a lot of customers. If she's at the top of the compensation plan, she must have a ton of customers. What I didn't know, and this is important, what I didn't know is that she has a team of representatives that she helps and supports to build a successful business just like hers. And they're having all this fun doing it. Want me to say that again? Because what I want you to do is think about your customers and think about the ones you haven't ever approached about the business. Because there's a chance that they have no idea that there is a business, that they just think that you're just a Juice Plus representative who sells the product. Everybody with me on this? Okay, and that makes sense? So what you should do is call her up and do your typical customer care, which I know all of you do really well. Your typical customer care, make sure they're taking the product, when their next order is coming, like all of those things. Maybe talk about a product they're not using at this time that you're having a lot of luck with, and say, oh, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but there's another side to my business. Not only do I represent Juice Plus as a sales representative, but I also have a team of representatives that I help and support, and those are key words, that I help and support to build a successful business just like mine, and we're having so much fun doing it. And I was thinking about you today and how wonderful you'd be at this. And I'd love to talk to you about it. And the coffee's on me. Let's go out for a cup of coffee, or do you have time for a cup of coffee, or do you want to talk about it right now? Like anything like that. Because we want to make sure that all of our customers are aware that there's an opportunity here. Everybody with me on that? Okay. And the great thing about that, by the way, is if they say no, it's still a customer. And this is put into their head now. Like, well, maybe not now, but remember that thing you were telling me about, or whatever, right? Or they know somebody else that does have a reason for the opportunity. And that's a great way for you to tell your business story at that same time. Right? I didn't think there was an opportunity here either, but I started this business, and this is what it's done for me and my family. And if you're just starting in the business, people always say, well, I'm just starting, Steve. Like, I don't have a business story. Your business story when you first start are the goals that you have to build your business and what you immediately want to be able to afford. Right? So a lot of people start their business, and all they want is to make $300 or $400 for their car payment. or they start it because they want to be able to afford somebody to clean their house every Friday. Janice Gebhardt in Houston, that's why she started in the business. Janet and I had this very conversation about 9 months ago because she hadn't been talking about that. She was talking about how she was able to buy this home in Florida now, and she was able to use her Juice Plus money for that. I said, well, that's great, but when you have somebody brand new on your team, they're not doing that overnight, right? They're like, the next month they're not buying, they don't have a mortgage payment. Everybody with me? But you need to talk about, go back in time and say, when I first started this business, I needed $300 to pay for a cleaning levy every Friday because I was a divorced mom of 3 who were all in athletics. And so I was working 4 days a week, and every Friday I had to clean my house. And I hated it because I didn't get to spend time with my kids. But all I wanted to do was find $75 a week, have somebody clean my house, $300 a month, so I could spend time at the park with my kids on Friday. Now, that's the story you tell somebody who's just starting. And then you ask them, so if you were to make $300 or $400 in the next month, what would you do with it?
Yeah.
Everybody right? Everybody with me on that? Because when you say that, and then usually what happens is the representatives say, well, it'd be nice to have extra money, right? Usually that's what follows. It'd be nice to have extra money. The next question is, for what? What are you going to spend that extra money on? Because we can't stop, right? We have to get something specific. Now, she might say, well, we have some bills we'd like to pay. Which bills? Okay. So she said, well, I don't know. Well, do you have a car payment? Yeah, we have a car payment. How much is that car payment? It's $375 a month, or it's $410 a month. Okay, let's work towards that. What do you say? Remember I said, let's work towards that. Like, we're going to do it together. And when she makes that car payment every month, as an example, and she's making $375 or $400 a month, and she's making a car payment with it, and she's not having to reach into her real checking account or her savings account to pay for it, now she got an extra $375 in her bank account that she didn't have before. And she feels really good about it, and there's momentum behind it, right? And now she feels excited. And the next thing is, okay, so what's next? What do you want to start paying for next? Because we've already got that. We're going to keep making that money. But what's next? So that's the way to tie in the business to it. And we have to get back to, what are we going to do with that first $300 or $400 you make? Because it's great to have a long range focus. We want everybody to have not an end point, but what's the ultimate? Oh, to pay my mortgage would be great, right? Okay, awesome. But what do we want to do now with it? Next month, when you make a $300 or $400 check, what are we going to do with it? Everybody with me on that? Okay, so I just talked for 35 minutes, and I'm sorry, but you let me talk. So that was a lot. So I'm willing to take questions or comments or cheers or jeers or anything you might have.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Sheila, you're muted too, so unmute yourself.
Yes.
Thank you, Steve.
That was so great, Steve. Thank you so much. I had a question. Where you said you're talking to your prospective team member and you're saying, how you're having so much fun doing the business. How did you transition from have a team that I help and support build a business just like mine, and how much fun we have doing it?
Yep.
How did you transition it to them? I didn't get that down.
Okay, so then the next thing to say is I'd love to meet you for a cup of coffee, or if you have time right now to talk about that, because I know when I started this business, I wasn't sure about it, and I wasn't sure what I could accomplish, but this is what it's done for my family. Not only are we getting healthier, but we're able to now afford this, or it's paying for this each month. When I first started, it paid for my car payment. I'm just giving you examples. It paid for my car payment when I started, and now it's paying for our mortgage each month. And I wanted to be able to share that with you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, Sheila. Absolutely.
Cora, did you have a question?
Yes, just to complete what you were saying, we have a team of reps that I help and support and build a successful business. Is that what you said?
To build a successful business.
Okay.
And we're having so much fun doing it. And another I just thought about is if you have an event coming up right after that somewhere in your area, say, why don't you come to an event with me? No strings attached. I just want you to come and meet the people. You know, because that's a great way too, like I said earlier, sort of tie it into the community. Because I mean, everybody has fun once they come to an event, right? And they learn a lot and they just enjoy themselves. And, you know, that's why events are so important on a local basis too, like just having in-home events, because people feel relaxed in that kind of environment.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did anybody else have a question? Steve, that was awesome. And I have a whole page of notes here. I love that you took us from what's unique about our company and then transitioned into, and I have a whole list, all those things, because those are great things to bring up to people. And then how Kelly talked to you, started a conversation, got to know you, asked questions. She was listening for your problem to identify, so then she could pull in the Juice Plus and how that all happened.
Let me just say this real quick. You brought up a great point. Is, you know, she was trying to uncover a need I might have, but she listened, and she did a great. That's the hardest thing, is because you know what you want to say already in your head, and you're like so excited about you're talking to this person and they're listening, right? And in your head, if there was a voice bubble over your head, it would say, "Oh my God, she's gonna be great. We're gonna have so much fun together. She's so cute." Like all these things are going through your head as you're talking to her. I know it. But what you got to do is just concentrate on whatever she is saying. Like that's the most important thing, because you want to make sure that you're steering the conversation to her needs, not your needs.
I've got a couple of other questions, if I may. Lori, is that okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. You were distinguishing the difference between us and other, direct sales company.
Yeah.
I used to work for Avon when I didn't know what I was doing. But anyway, I think I don't know how other companies are doing it now, but they're transitioning to doing it like we do, where they don't have to hold inventory and they just, ship and stuff. So, so how in that regards are we different, since everybody's moving into the same arena that we are? And second question is, you have a friend who did Avocare?
Yeah. She's a vice president with them.
Okay. So, I heard earlier in the year that they did a change in the marketing plan. And so a lot of people that had billed no longer have anything. So can you address that for us?
Yeah. So let's go backwards on those. Right. So Avocare sort of, for lack of a better word, wiped out all teams, right? Put all of that aside, and now all they have, their representatives, are straight to consumer selling product. So they took the team part out of it completely. And like you said, a lot of people lost significant income because of that. So there are probably a lot of Avocare representatives out there. We have to tread carefully on that, though, because you don't want to downgrade another company ever. Like you never ever do that. So you want to talk about what your experience has been like, and they're going through a transition, and if you know somebody at Avocare who's had that happen to them, say, "Wow, you were so successful building a team. I'd love for you to come here and do the same thing." Mm-hmm. The other thing, the first thing you mentioned about people transitioning to inventory and not taking it, what ends up happening, the difference is that they go to sales meetings, and what happens is they buy product at those sales meetings. Anyway, and so they still, maybe not at the beginning, but they still have to buy the product to be able to sell to other people, their customers. That'd be like you going to a meeting and I'm talking and I say, "Okay, who goes to buy 30 trios right now?" And you can't even imagine doing that, right? Like, who would do that?
But you still have to deliver it yourself, right?
You still have to deliver it yourself. So yeah, and you still have to handle all the money too. Okay. Which is it's crazy. One of the reasons I left Avon, honestly, was because they were still doing a lot of those things. Mm-hmm. And what was happening was like they weren't catching up to where commerce was going. Right. And I was like, this is not the right time to be here. This is like, it was a great 7.5 years. Believe me, I learned a ridiculous amount about this business. And I was there during the heyday, and it was awesome. Yeah. I met a lot of great people, but you have to, when I came to Juice Plus, when Janet asked me to come, I was like, do I want to do this again? And go in and go back in the pool. And because when I left, it wasn't great. And it took a lot. And it was sort of like dating for like 4 months, Janet and I. And I was like, okay, so you sure? I'm not sure. And until I met the people internally in Memphis, the people who have been here 23, 24, 25, 26 years, from Jay to Randy, to Mike Clifton, to Tanya Oxley, to Ron Watkins, like, how come all these people have been here so long? Because they love it, right? And they love their representatives. Like, I never seen anything like that before. Like, the commitment to their representatives was like, is this for real? Like, and everything they were talking about was, they just kept talking about representatives. I was like, God, these people are awesome. That day I went, it was a day in November of 2016. It's like going through a car wash. I met 17 people in one day. And they were all like so enthusiastic and loved what they were doing. I was like, okay, Janet walked me out into the parking lot. I go, I'm in. I'm in. And then when I met all of you, like I met all of our representatives, even better. Like these people, and I think the big part of it, honestly, is that our mission to inspire healthy living around the world makes you feel really good about what you're doing every day. And
So
I think
that
that's a big part of it.
So there is, because we were kind of similar to Advocare in the marketing plan. How is that the possibility of something like that happening to us?
No,
My question.
absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. And the reason you should take comfort in that is that in October, you're going to learn about the new compensation plan coming in January. And I would just say the titles are changing too, and more opportunity for you. So on the team
More
side.
levels?
So we're going completely the opposite of what Advocare did, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And your national marketing directors have been holding this to their hearts for a long time. And it's about, God, we're less than a month away now, I guess, from about a month away from finding all that out. But I can tell you, like, it's complete opposite of what Advocare did. We couldn't be doing more with that in the business building end.
Well, thank you for addressing
You'll be very happy. You'll be very happy.
Awesome. Can't wait.
I wouldn't tell you that. I would have hid from your question if it wasn't true.
Okay, I appreciate
I
that.
promise you that.
And didn't you love the way that Steve just came out with his verbiage that transitioned conversation so easily from, let me how about coffee? I was thinking about you. Would you like to learn more? Can we have a chat? So that was amazing.
Yes.
I really think
I took a lot of notes.
Steve, we're all giving you thumbs up.
Thank you.
Thank you for this. And
Absolutely.
I want to just real quickly, there's 41 days to conference, and I know all of y'all on here, I'm going to see you at conference. We're going to be together. Make sure you've got all your ducks in a row, your room, and I know it's crazy getting rooms and stuff, but make sure you have your ticket. The 16th is the day that it switches to from early bird pricing to regular pricing. So you're going to make sure you get in on that. And then for next week, I want to tell you, Sheila and Tina and Carol, who had to drop off, are going to be talking to us next week because Tina and Carol just promoted to sales coordinator, and Sheila is on her way to Q. She's a Ford Club, and I want to tell you that her team brought in over 65 new orders last month.
Whoa!
I want to tell you that
Sheila,
for the year averages at least 8 customers a month personally.
Wow.
So I want to tell you that that's a call you want to be on because you want to know, what are they doing? What does their calendar look like? What is their mindset? How are they linking arms and moving forward in such a strong way? Sheila's going to be a Q very soon. And we all get to say we knew her when. Yes. So I want to invite you to come back next week, and we will be doing that. And if we're all good, I'm going to say goodbye. Have a wonderful Friday, a wonderful weekend. Thank y'all for being on. And until we meet again.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lori.
You bet.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.